meet us here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right? Thank you. Norm Wheeler, District Attorney, Canada.
Good afternoon, everybody. Some of you may not be aware, but the 6th Judicial District encompasses Grant, Luna, and Hidalgo counties. I prosecuted many years in Grant County for the 6th Judicial District until 2020, when I left the Silver City area, went to Taos to prosecute for the 8th Judicial District. I got a phone call from the 1st Judicial District, which is Santa Fe. I was there for a little over 2 years until the beginning of March, when I finalized running for district attorney and wanted to move closer so that I could spend more time so you guys could get to know me and vice versa. What's important to me, one of the things that's important to me, is to determine what in fact is important to you. And before we go farther, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank you for letting me be here. And the people I really want to thank are the people who have been kind enough to truly listen to the people before me so that they could hear and digest what they had to say. Now, just a tiny bit about me, as I'm not a spring chicken. But as a matter of fact, in the fall, I start my 43rd year as an attorney. How many people here aren't even 43 years old? One person, all right. and that cute little baby back there. But, I'm starting my 43rd year as an attorney. I've prosecuted in 2 different states. I prosecuted in Illinois. And then in 2015, in the 90s, my wife and I bought a small ranch far enough away from the monument that we're not an issue, but my heart is with you guys, and if there's anything I can do to help your fight, don't hesitate to ask me. In my years as a prosecutor, when I talk about cases, I'm going to talk about just felony cases. I'm not going to mix in the misdemeanors. Is that okay? In my years practicing in New Mexico, I have worked for 4 different judicial districts and literally handled thousands of felony level cases. And I've handled virtually any kind of case you can imagine, from simple possession of drugs up to multi-state involved racketeering, complex crime cases, and many murder cases, and all kinds of cases in between. And the only reason I bring that up isn't to brag, it's to tell you what my experience is, so that you have an idea, if you choose to vote for me and support me, what you're voting for and supporting. I can tell you, I am the district attorney and judges. New Mexico is one of the few states that actually makes you put a D or an R behind your name when you run. How many people think that is a good idea? A couple of you. I think it's an awful idea, personally, but I get in trouble because I often say things people don't like, but I'm not going to tell you one thing to your face and a different thing in a room behind you. I can tell you, because I prosecuted so many years in Grant County, I have a tremendous amount of support from the Democrats in Grant County, and a significant number of Democrats who are in fact working on my campaign, and I thank them for that. I have a lot of support from law enforcement, and why would I have law enforcement support? Any guesses? Because I actually prosecute cases. If you go to many things where your current DA talks, you're going to hear as a justification for not doing things, you're going to hear, I don't hold the keys to the jail, I wish I did. listen carefully to what I'm telling you. I, as the district attorney, do hold the keys to the jail. Nobody gets put in jail because a judge chases somebody down the street and sticks them in jail till they go to trial. Nobody. One thing I will encourage you to do is become educated. Educate yourselves, educate your friends. What's the best way for me to educate you about something? Can I pick on you? If I come up and say you have to do this or you're an idiot, what are you going to do? She'll rebel. How many people would be with her? I bet everybody in this room would be with her, right? I mean, do we make decisions based on emotions or facts? We've heard that before. So I encourage you to get educated. Right now, there's this really frustrating concept called catch and release. Has anybody heard of that? Do you know how that came about? How'd that come about? Pardon? No, it was somebody much closer to home. In the fall of 2016, I bet everybody in this room voted on a constitutional amendment that started out, do you want to keep dangerous people in jail? Remember that? 87 people out of 100 that voted for that answered, yes, I do. And do you know what? They got just the opposite of what they thought they were getting. Educate yourself. Help educate your friends. Do it by asking them questions, not telling them things. Anybody who's a thinking person is going to rebel at being told something, aren't they? You have to think this way. If you don't think this way, you're an idiot, you're a racist, you're a... Pick your adjective, or those adverbs. I get confused all the time. I am a person that believes in the Constitution. Attorneys and prosecutors every year take an oath to uphold the Constitution. That means things that are constitutional. It means opposing things that are unconstitutional. A question I get asked all the time, and I'll cut it off right now, is where do you stand on gun control? Rather than giving you a yes or no, I'm going to ask you, where does the Constitution stand on gun control? So, I don't want, I mean, I'm happy if he doesn't mind. I'm happy to take a couple of questions, but my campaign people give me a hard time because I'm not good at this part of campaigning. I'm not good at campaigning, but I can heat up the room when I talk. Campaigns are expensive. Certain campaigns do not qualify for public funding. I can tell you my campaign is going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. Some of you have been kind enough to help support me, and I truly appreciate that. I have a website. It's called Wheeler, WHEELER, 4, the number 4, DA.com, Wheeler4DA.com. If you would be kind enough to go there, and if you can't support me financially, there's places to sign up. You heard Jennifer asking. We all need help, going door to door. I would ask for your help that way, and if possible, also your help financially. I don't know about you, but when I face certain situations, first of all, I try to identify problems. Does that make sense? And then prioritize the problems. A huge problem in this area, where does New Mexico stand crime-wise? Any ideas statistically? very, depending on your scale, either, we're not at the good end of the scale, right? And a lot of it is drug related. When I decided to run for district attorney, I went to the magistrate judges because magistrate judges are required to look at every single probable cause statement that comes in, that's filed by the police. And I asked them, do you have a sense of how many crimes are drug or alcohol, substance related? The lowest number I got was 70% of the crimes that came across their desk were affiliated. The highest I got was 90%. So I believe that we have to help the people that are true addicts, but we have to stop the people who are helping make them addicts. Does that make sense to you? Reese, your current DA, recently, when I left my post in 2020, they're in Grant County where I was. I was working with this marvelous team we developed of drug investigators, drug people. The best I've been in 4 places. I've never seen better people than I was working with in Grant County. There were 6 to 8 legitimate drug traffickers sitting in jail when I left. And these were people that were the result of ongoing investigations. Also, did you know that prisoners get to make phone calls out of the jail? The first thing on the phone call, the first thing when they pick up the phone is, this is to inform you that your phone call is being recorded. You'd be shocked that they're still doing it. The thing that they say, I'm convicted for trafficking, people for trafficking drugs off of phone calls in the jail. But when a judge announced in court my last day in the 6th up in Grant County that I was leaving and going somewhere else, I got a call the next day from one of those drug officers that I worked with, and they never say Norm. They go, hey, Wheeler, you should have listened to the phone calls last night. Everybody's ecstatic because you're leaving. And one of those drug traffickers who was sitting in jail that took work to get there was looking at 35 and a half years in prison. Your current DA pled that tonight, so he didn't have to go to trial. He's also going to get day for day good time, which means he's going to do a maximum of 4.5 years. That's not going to happen in Norm Wheeler's office. So, thank you for your time, and whatever support you can provide to me in my campaign, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Norm. Hey, I want to bring up one thing. You probably didn't